Okay, so Company 3, I started actually March 13th of last year for the Senior Vice President of Technology based in New York, spearheading the engineering efforts in New York, but also when COVID hit, also because of my past experiences, to lead the effort on all the remote collaboration and work from home capabilities that we need to do across the globe, because I had experience in that at my previous company. I worked at Discrete before this, or Autodesk. I worked on the Flame and Luster and Inferno products themselves. I was the infrastructure manager, plus we worked in professional services, building collaboration workflows for all of the major studios and clients we had. I'm a problem solver is what I am, right? I'm not really a scientist. I never would see that. My whole background is what it is to find solutions and solve problems, and that's workflow solutions, collaborative solutions, whatever it may be, whether it be remote video streaming. It's really having an understanding what the industry needs, having a unique and a deep understanding of the tool sets and those hardware, and putting the right pieces together. That's what I think my job is, and that's what I think my role is. Before, you would have the kit and the content at your house or a hotel or somebody else's place or at a studio someplace, or you have dedicated high-speed dark fiber connections between facilities that cost you tens of thousands of dollars every single month to work on. And that's the old way of working, right? That's the old way of remote working. Really what you want to do now is you want to centralize the computers. You don't want the computers to move. You don't want the content to move. And you want to be able to do it over a dedicated secure internet connection. And that's really the difference is now the remote work consists of a small computer that gives you the visualization tools you need to connect to the application remotely, plus a device like the pivot to be able to see the reference stream back. That's really what they need, plus the audio aspect of that too, right? So instead of having tens of thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars investment in the past like you used to, now you're talking sub $10,000 for proper setup, and plus you can set it up in minutes versus doing it elsewhere, right? You don't need to spend months and months planning it out. The technology is there, it's portable, and you can just seriously just move it the way you want to and connect the way you want to. I know we even have people working off hotel rooms so that they're traveling, they start doing color grading in the middle of the night because they have a small enough kit with them that they can do that work, right? That's true, but it's really dependent on the person's individual requirements and the environment they have where they're located, right? If they have a proper environment that mimics the artist environment, that gives them the same color aspect, from a image point of view, the content is the same, okay? But from a collaboration point of view, that's where it differs, right? And that's where you want to have that person with you and have a small environment, like we're building these boutique theaters around these, all this basic information where we can have a room with 2 or 3 people and that's specialized. It gives you the same environment that everybody feels safe in, versus going to a large studio like we have, or large post-production finishing like in New York where there's 150 people around, and you have that aspect of it. Now you get to the point where you just have 2 or 3 people in the room and you're safe and secure and everything like that. I think this is a proof of concept that we've done, and we've proven that it will work, and the technology is there, and it's something that our artists want and our clients want. So instead of having these massive facilities that are all around, you can then have these specific rooms located in areas people want to be and build them out and have a lot smaller footprint, but a lot more controlled footprint. Or this theater that we're doing, this can be mimicked in this facility also, right? We can have 6 or 7 or 10, whatever the company decides, of all these little boutique offices, even in New York City if we wanted to, right? We don't need a massive facility that people feel uncomfortable with. And there's also different skill sets that are needed. We don't need to have the engineers sitting next to the conform artists sitting next to the artists themselves. Those that type of collaboration has also changed in how we do that kind of work, right? So you don't need that tight-knit community that's well connected physically, but you still need a tight-knit community across your communication that you have. And that's one thing we've really learned. I think people's learned to articulate better along the lines on how they do that remotely, because again, you don't have that physical presence anymore where you can read body language as much. So you need to be able to find ways to do that. And that's, I think, some of the only positive things that came out of this last year. I don't think things will go back to the way they were, right? So the word normal is to be determined at this point, in my mind. I think what we've learned is the ability to be flexible in the way we work, in the way we want to work. In life, quality of life is just as important as anything else. But what they also will do is help us redefine our post-production facilities that we do have on-prem, because a certain amount will definitely come on-prem. But the way we do things and how we do things will drastically change, and where our investments will drastically change. We won't need these large, massive infrastructures anymore that service a specific function, because now those functions are now based on networks and collaboration versus on all these specialized protocols that were there before. Everybody that's in this production environment now has changed how we collaborate. And to me, that's actually improved the way we've done business, even though it's been very difficult for a lot of people to make those changes and to change those thought processes and what their expectations are. But the expectations have not gotten any less. We just do them differently than we did before. And I think that's a very positive way forward. I see it as continue to build tools that make our artists' life simpler and easier, right? To make sure that the content we create allows them to work anywhere they want to work, and we can actually have artists join our team no matter where they are. And that's working, whether it be, I hate the word cloud, but AWS-based, Google-based, Azure-based, any of those things where we can then turn this very behemoth of a environment we have, like in the facilities, and turn that into something that's a shared solution on somebody else's platform, right? That we turn on and off as we need, right? We don't need to have these large facilities, and again, I helped design and build those over my career, so I know exactly what they are, and I know what they need and entail from a support point of view. But our business has changed in such a way, it's not necessary anymore. The compute capabilities of Amazon and Google and Microsoft, and even our own data centers, if we want to make it secure, that we can do ourselves, but it doesn't need to be in the facility anymore, what that really is. So the next step to me is take what we've learned here, look at our history, apply that to our future, to continue to allow us to, no matter which way the world change, we can apply what we've learned to the future, right? And the biggest thing to me is we are in a creative industry. We need to provide tools that are transparent to our users. And the more and more we can do that, that means we've done our job as technologists and engineers. But it's really, really important to me that they don't know we're here, right? The best thing in the world is they never see an engineer, they never see me. That's the best part about it, right? They can do a creative job, because that means my family, my relatives, my neighbors, everybody can enjoy the content that was created. And the better they do their job as content finishers, the better off everybody else is going to enjoy the content. I guess the main thing is to make sure that the color is accurate, to make sure that the tools we have how to respond in a proper fashion. So when they're actually working, there's no interruption in the creative process. The biggest thing is when you're, the tools that they're working on need to respond the way that their brain works. And having that opportunity and having the infrastructure to support that, whether it be a computer or a network or what have you, or a screen or a projector, it's really to the point is those tools need to mimic the way their brain works and to respond as fast as their brain works. All the colors are looking at an image on the screen. They're talking to their clients in the same room with them or on some remote device, whether it's, and that happens even before COVID times, right? So where people are remote and they're collaborating and they're trying to make those decisions on the fly. Exactly what the nuance of that image. Should they leave that sun spark in there, or should they remove a blemish on somebody's face, or what have you, right? That is a very creative process, and it actually gives the content we make a more polished look, and a look that everybody wants to have. What the director has, the EP, the DP, whatever it may be, or the artist, it allows that to happen in real time, and you actually get a better process when that happens, and you get a better content. So when you go to the theater or you go on one of the streaming devices that are out there, you actually see they see the results of their work. The more that is interrupted, the more the continuity of their creative process goes on, the less polished or less finished that film may take, but it also may take longer at the same time, because they have to do many, many versions of that to try to get it right to compensate for what was broken in the creative process. Everything we've learned during this COVID and where we get those work from home can be repurposed moving forward. It'll make our lives in the facility simpler, because now everything will be based on video, IP and IP-based technologies, but it'll allow the creators to create where they want to, right? And teaching them that and having them understand not just the business aspect of it from a monetary point of view, but from a technology point of view, if you implement these things properly, you have then a whole new set of tools that you can then build later on, right? So if you have the core right, like video streaming right, the next thing you can do is start putting in the fact is that you can then start putting collaboration in. But if you don't have the core streaming right, you can't do collaboration, because the two don't matter, right? So what COVID has taught us is the need to share, not just across one app, one person, but across multiple people, but then across different platforms themselves, right? We need to be able to build a ecosystem where all the content creators can work as one when they want to. The more the technology is hidden, there's no feedback because it's working as they expect, right? So that's the best compliment I can get. Going through that process and getting their feedback and that collaboration with them to say, okay, this is the response I'm getting, or this is wrong, or that's wrong, and I'd like to see that improvement. That's part of the learning curve of technology with the artists, and getting the artists up to speed on what we're developing too, and them have the artists understand and work with us to improve that. This is part of the process, and that's a huge part of the process. But the best thing I can say is right now, we don't get feedback, right? That's the best part of it.